What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Boslake. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that's the one, the only, is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scotty, what's happening, dude?
Oh, we're getting into a nice, solid season of some heavy releases now, and I'm only getting more excited as the days go on.
Dude, the games just keep piling in. Today's doc alone, like, man, it's Thursday. Today's Thursday, and you should see the games. Like, it's not Friday. I'm like, holy crap, these games today. Oh, what a list. But you can always join us live over on YouTube and Twitch, the official ITG. And if you're joining us on YouTube, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that sub button. It's always helpful for us over there. But if you can't hit us up live, join us later inside the game.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. We already have Northern Nerdcast here in the comments. Talking about, dude, we'll get to that. He's already trash talking the state of play from yesterday because, well,
boy.
Dude, what was that? That was such a mess. Also, rumors begin to swirl around the world's famous, infamous, and the Sly Cooper series. Stadia adds more features to the platform, and some details emerge about PAYDAY 3. Has me pretty excited, I gotta be honest. You ready, Scott?
Oh, that's cool. Sounds good.
Dude, let's get into this disaster, what yesterday turned out to be for the state of play, because the minute it started, right, we're sitting there and we're just going, what game is this? And it keeps going, and then it rolls into the next game, and we're like, what is that?
What game is this?
And it's not even like a, ooh, what is this? It is a, what the heck is this? It's kind of one of those things, right? Nobody wanted to see this. By the end of the state of play, thank goodness, it was only 20 minutes, because that entire 20 minutes was completely painful. And this, you said to me right at the very beginning, what do you think this state of play is going to be? And I said, indies. And that's exactly what it was. PlayStation themselves stated it was going to be third-party titles. Now, third-party, if you don't know what third-party means, it means studios that aren't owned by PlayStation, right? That's where you get your first party from. Or second party studios. Studios that are outside the PlayStation family, but only make games for PlayStation. So you get into the realm of Ubisoft. Prime example, right? They make games, they make games for every platform because they want to be everywhere. So they can be on Xbox, PlayStation, so forth. So you expect a little bit of hype coming in. A little bit, right? Like, you don't know. Third party means a ton of things. Who knows? The options there are endless. But dude, it was all indies, and I love indies. There's nothing wrong with indies, but these games, dude, everybody in the comment section was complaining. We didn't understand what the purpose of this was. Scott, how did you feel coming out of the state of play? Because I was 0 for 5 at one point for the games on this list. That was in the starting order, dude. I was not happy, unfortunately.
No, they showed a few things that were interesting, but it didn't really seem like something to make a big fuss about. We got some updates on some games that we already knew about. First Class Heroes, Troubles, First Class, that game coming around to PlayStation, that was cool to see, but it wasn't exactly an announcement of its own.
No.
It was quite disappointing because I was expecting something to punctuate it heavily.
Yeah.
But it didn't really seem to have a heavy hitter there.
Not at all. There's 10 games total. Death's Door, another one we've actually reviewed on the show under the Xbox side of things. And then, yeah, you talk about First Class Trouble. Fantastic game, but we've been playing that now for a while over on PC. And then it ended with, where I have it here, Little Devil Inside, which I thought looked unique, but it wasn't that heavy hitting ending, right? That kind of makes you all go, wow, because we were just kind of left going, eh. Like, I don't think this conference or this little showcase was necessary whatsoever, because PlayStation holds a lot of mindshare right now. But going in, dude, the mindshare they have now isn't good. A lot of fans were not happy, and that's the thing. If you don't really have anything to show, then just don't do anything. Don't show it. The showcase wasn't necessary.
No, they're going to be drawn to comparison with Xbox, and I think that's partially the motivation for having the state of play. Was just to kind of keep their brand out there. Hey, we've got things too, guys. Don't just get distracted by the other team. But it seemed to have been not very positive. And if you're just making your fans angry too, that's who does that help?
Exactly, right? It doesn't help anybody. And that's the biggest thing. I think it was a misstep on the world of PlayStation, and lately they've been on fire. So that was pretty, very disappointing, Scott, I would say the least. But dude, let's move on to what's happening next in the world of PlayStation, possibly, as Sony might be reviving the infamous and Sly Cooper series for PS5. Dude, this is a big one. So, both the infamous and Sly Cooper franchise are apparently being revived for PlayStation 5 after remaining dormant for nearly a decade. Taking to Twitter earlier in the month, Xbox era co-founder Nick Baker stated that his OG Sony source has confirmed new infamous and Sly Cooper games to now be in development, and as such, the two first-party PlayStation franchises are returning 100% on PlayStation 5.
Dude. Well, that's some good news there. There's some titles that haven't been touched in a long time. Sly Cooper is one I've looked at for 20 years from the outside. I thought it was really cool. So yeah. I want to see how that gets updated and brought to a new generation.
So Infamous and Sly Cooper. So Sly Cooper was last made by Zenzaro Studios, and I believe that was on, dude, that was back on, I want to say PS3 Vita days.
Yeah,
that's how old that is, right? And then Infamous has been gone forever. Second Son was a launch title on PlayStation 4. We have yet to see anything on Infamous. You saw Sucker Punch transition over into the world of Ghost of Tsushima, or Ghost of Tsushima, whatever it is. So it depends on, do you think that in this case, if it is being revived again, is Sucker Punch working on this? Because Sucker Punch, I believe, did both titles. I want to say, I know they did Infamous for sure, but I'm questioning whether or not they did Sly Cooper.
I would really hope that they're on the new Infamous if it does come back, because I think they'll have such a handle on that. If they've handled the past titles, they're going to want that.
Exactly.
Their DNA all over it. You want that to be similar to what you're used to. In the same way that it would be strange if From Software took on the next Splinter Cell game. It might be really cool, but it'd be different.
Well, that's what Northern Nerdcast says. First Splinter Cell, and now this. Maybe Jack is next. Dude, fingers crossed, right? We could be on a huge roll of comebacks this holiday season, maybe, or at least announcements to get into this next generation of consoles. The fact that they could be getting this, though, is a huge move, right? Because let's see, Infamous First Light, a prequel to Second Son, was released in 2014, dude. 2014. That's a long time ago. Sly Cooper Thieves in Time was last, on the other hand, released in 2013. So yeah, they've been gone for a while, and it's now, I think, could be the correct time. If they're in early stages of development, though, we're way off, right? Like we're way off. Yeah. Sucker Punch did make Sly. Okay, thanks Northern Nerdcast. I thought they did. I couldn't remember. They made Sly, and then they moved on to Infamous, and then you had Zenzaro come in and kind of revitalize Sly. And I thought that would have been the step forward, bringing that franchise back. But dude, then it just kind of poof and disappeared. I was like, wow, really? That's it? It's gone? No more?
Did you have a lot of time on Infamous? I played it for a short time, but it didn't really stick with me.
I played it for a short time as well. I actually played the newest one, and then I played the DLC, First Light. I liked First Light. I thought First Light was really good. But yeah, dude, that was the beginning of PlayStation 4. So that's a long time. But we'll see now that they've transitioned. We know we're getting another Ghost of Tsushima game. There's got to be a sequel in the works. Jin took off like no other. Yeah. So that merely kind of elevated, I think, Sucker Punch to another level, right? It's almost that Naughty Dog situation going from Jax to Uncharted to now The Last of Us. And I think that's where Sucker Punch is starting to climb to that kind of status, especially as a first-party studio coming out for PlayStation. So this is a big IP to come over. You want to take care of this IP, brand new IP in the world of Ghost of Tsushima, and it took off. Like, it hit huge numbers, right? Like, fans loved it. So you know they're working on a sequel. They have to be working on a sequel. So then that's why I question, do they split? Do they divide in two teams? Are we bringing back another Infamous game? And who's working on it? Is it just the other team? Or is it a whole other studio like they did with Sly Cooper? So, dude, there's no way Sucker Punch is working on Ghost of Tsushima, Infamous, and Sly Cooper. Right, you got to figure it out.
Not unless it's coming out for 2030.
Yeah, it's down the pipeline. But if they're both in development right now, who's the other team? Okay, you ready? Blue Point. Dude, this makes a lot of sense. We've seen rumors flying all over the place of Blue Point is working on a Bloodborne 2. They said they're working on popular IP. Are they working on a new Infamous game?
Well, that would certainly fit. It's
Right?
had huge popularity in the past, and it would be long enough since the last title that they could transition into Blue Point.
I think so as well.
But if Blue Point's working on that, then who's working on Silent Hill?
Was it Blue Box Games, Brad? Is that who it is?
I thought that was a crater in the ground by now.
Oh man, some things will never die. So but yeah, it's interesting to see. I think PlayStation would be wise to bring back these IPs. I love to see. Okay, we talk about stealth being dead. Dude, put us in a Sly Cooper game with a heavy emphasis on stealth. I think that's a great fit because he's a raccoon. Sly's a raccoon. He's a sneaky little bugger, and I think this would be a good opportunity to make a stealth like experience, but still kind of keep it in that platforming range, right? So there's opportunities here. Curious to see what they're gonna do over there with PlayStation and who the heck is working on these two titles. I think that's my biggest question now at this point. But dude, you ready for some Stadia stuff? I always like talking about Stadia. Stadia launches streaming-enabled features, platform introducing state share, crowd play, crowd choice, and Stream Connect to a limited selection of titles. This comes from Jeffrey Russo over at gamesindustry.biz. Google today announced new details for some streaming-enabled features it has previously teased for the Stadia service. The company said it would enable state share, crowd play, crowd source, and Stream Connect functions in a selection of games soon. But state share is already live in Doom Eternal and Hello Engineer, and crowd play is available in Serious Sam 4. State share allows users to save their game whenever they take a screenshot or capture video in game. The image or video can then be shared to others whom then can play from other unique state state, and then titles they can basically, if I save my file, Scott, you can work off of my save file, if that makes sense.
That's kind of really cool, because if you're in a boss fight, say, and you're like, oh man, this was hard, how do I do it?
Yeah.
Send me a screen pick and now I can jump on and try it out. I like that. That's really cool.
Very cool. The crowd play function will give YouTube viewers the ability to join and play alongside the person who live stream they're watching. Games that feature crowd choice are able to create polls during a YouTube live stream, which viewers are able to vote on within the chat window. The Stream Connect users can see up to a total of 3 teammates' screens during co-op play sessions. So it's like having multiple windows up, right? I think that's
cool. Yeah, it's like a pseudo split screen, even though you're across the internet. That's interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, so they've listed off a bunch of games here too. Additionally, the company shared that state share supported titles. So we got Hitman Trilogy. I'm going to say that. Pixel Junk Riders, Judgment, Serious Sam, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, Hello Engineer, Humankind, Doom Eternal. Games featured in Crowd Play, Samurai Showdown, Mortal Kombat 11. Dude, I love that game. Borderlands 3, Super Bomberman R. There's a bunch here. So there's other couple highlights too for crowd choice enabled Stadia titles: Samurai Showdown, Baldur's Gate 3, Dead by Daylight, Outcasters. We played Outcasters for our live stream, dude. Unfortunately, that game is just dead. Like it was
too bad.
Dude. I was so disappointed because that's such a cool game. But we'll see what happens now. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. And then Stream Connect functionality is confirmed for Stadia games: Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, The Division 2, The Crew 2, Orcs Must Die 3, that's a wicked game, Outriders, and Far Cry 6. So we see you got 1, 2, 3, there's 4 Ubisoft titles right there. But yes, it's nice to see some of these features. Dude, like we were promised a lot of these features 2 years ago for Stadia.
Yeah, no, it's first of all, it's really positive to see Stadia brought in the news in a positive way.
Yes.
Instead of them folding a studio or not doing a certain deal, I like this because it gives us the things that Stadia can deliver on.
Yeah.
These other consoles, I'm sure there's things that they could do to make it work, but Stadia, they're the flagship of being a streaming service.
Absolutely.
And I want to see some of those weird internet magic things at work. The idea of a state share with Hitman, that just blows my mind. I did this. Do you think you could do better? Here's the screenshot. Let's see.
Yep.
We played competitively on the sniper challenge, but I want to see
Dude.
that expanded on.
Oh, if we could bring that over to this, man, that'd be a blast. That'd be so fun. Dude, I love the sniper challenge. And it was so disappointing that IO did not bring it back for Hitman 3. I was like, come on, guys, really? They said they're not doing that and they're not doing multiplayer. Single player content only. I'm like, really?
Wow.
Oh, man.
If only it was just, can you imagine the Dubai level, but you're looking down like 8 kilometers at a target?
What are you, just hovering in a helicopter?
Hey, there's an idea. The potential is there.
Right there. You can have that one, IO. I'll take my royalties later. Dude, that'd be awesome. We got some news on Payday 3, though, however. Let's get into what's going on there, because Payday 3 is set in New York, stars the original gang. Starbreeze Entertainment has finally lifted the lid on Payday 3, giving us our first proper information about what we can expect from the game. This comes from Dom over at VG247. It's been a while since we've heard anything about the upcoming Starbreeze game, Payday 3, but in a celebratory live stream with the developers spilled the beans on what we can expect from the highly anticipated heist shooter that's set to launch in 2023.
Oh.
So
a whole year out.
Yeah, we still got a lot of time, right? First up, the game is set in New York, with the in-game city described by a game director, Eric Wolveny, something like that, as living enormous representation of the city. Have you played GTA?
Yeah, that is ambitious. Yeah, this isn't Rockstar behind this one. I'm not to put down the Starbreeze at all, but
for sure.
Oh.
But dude, Starbreeze hit bankruptcy at one point, right? Like they almost closed. So
and then Payday 2 was the payday that kept them alive, was it not?
No. So they did Payday. My timeline could be off here, but I thought Payday 1 was out, Payday 2 was out, and then they almost went belly up after that. And then someone swept in. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Koch Media, and bought them up. So I'm gonna have to take a look. Now you got me wondering who bought Starbreeze, dude.
Well, if that is the timeline, I wonder how they felt about their partnership with Koch Media.
Well, yeah, right. So they got 505 Games. 505 Games came in January 2020 to acquire the Starbreeze assets at the time held by Smilegate for about $21.2 million.
Okay.
So Rockstar buys $7.9 million in studio from struggling Starbreeze. Dude, everybody's just buying up their assets. So, like, who acquired them? Digital Brothers acquire all the Starbreeze assets. What happened there? But either way, it looks like 505 Games, I think, basically bailed them out, is what's going on there, which is nice to see because, dude, there's such a fan base for Payday 2. To see that particular style of game just disappear. Dude, there is no game like Payday. Right? It's that you set up the heist.
Not that I could think of.
You get GTA Online heists. I think that's probably about the closest aspect you can get to what's going on in the world of Payday. But Payday is its own entity and its own genre, I think, really. When you going in and pulling off these bank heists and stuff like that. It's a 4-player co-op, which is excellent. Scott, this is something we need to play.
Yeah, I do not have enough experience on this one at all.
No, me either.
Ahead of the Payday 3, we have some time. So let's get into it. But
we have a lot of time, actually.
It does look impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. One game changer. The media is now covering the gang, their exploits, and who knows what might come from that, Starbreeze said via Eurogamer. The game will take place following the events of Payday 2, several years after the shenanigans of the title, where they retired from criminal activities. But the world hasn't stayed the same in that time. In the meantime, the world of Payday has transitioned into a digital age, from software giants, cryptocurrencies, massive surveillance, and the dark web, all playing a role in the gang's new gadgets, challenges, and opportunities. Dude, this sounds so cool. Thanks to currently undisclosed events, Dallas, Huxton, Chains, and Wolf, that's the same crew as the first game, have all been forced to return to the life of crime once again. Development from the title formally kicked off in 2017, and back in 2019, 2022-2023 release window was provided. Suffice to say, then, the game has been in the works for a while. dude, that's been a long time in development. There's no doubt about that.
No, the more we talk about Payday, it makes me think of the Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a good association or not, but that's just what I see.
It just depends on who you are, I guess. It's
depends on if you believe in the power of family.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm excited for Payday 3. I want to jump into the problem with Payday 2 is that, dude, I just hadn't had anybody to jump in with. Right? And that's not a game you want to play solo. You don't want to play with AI. That doesn't work that way. You want to play with your friends. So if I can get you, me, we'll have to get a couple others. Nate, maybe, and Kyle or somebody else, and Steve. Who knows? Oh, Steve is not a stealth player. Sorry, Steve, I'm calling you out, dude. You're just not a stealth player.
Yeah, he has our back.
In one shot or another. All right, that's...
I've never seen a guy dump the mag so cleanly before.
That was so long ago. Steve's not like that anymore. It was hilarious at the time. Some things will just never go away. Dude, that was like 3 years ago. That's hilarious. All right, let's move on. Xbox hardware revenues are up 166% as Microsoft continues to battle supply constraints. Declining third-party game sales limits growth for Xbox content and services, but overall gaming revenues on the rise. This comes from James Batchelor over at gamesindustry.biz. Dude, that was a mouthful. Microsoft has released its financial results for the first quarter of its current fiscal year, showing a dramatic increase in hardware revenues for Xbox. Dude, it kind of makes sense. Everybody jumped on the new consoles. Like, it's to be expected, I would think, right? For the first 3 months ended in September 30th, 2021, Xbox hardware revenues were up 166% when compared to the same period last year when Xbox One sales were dwindling ahead of the Xbox Series X and S launch. Again, a lot of this just kind of lines up and makes a lot of sense. Why wouldn't it? The highlight is that is growing. I think that's the biggest thing to take away from this. Dude, it's good. It's nice to see that they're up. Looking at Microsoft's overall results, revenue rose by 22% year on year to $45.3 billion.
Holy.
This was primarily driven by the Microsoft Cloud, which generated $20.7 billion, up 36%. Dude, from the cloud.
Oh, I would not have expected that. I think this made a lot more sense as hardware shipping and new generation. I think it could be explained with just that. But
that's crazy.
Cloud is taking off. It's good for them.
Oh, it's a good sign, right? Xbox content and services revenue grew by 30% in the same quarter last year, but this would have been driven by the ongoing impact of lockdowns, driving more people to play games as a form of indoor entertainment. Well, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that, right?
Catch up with the rest of the class. We're on page 8.
Exactly. Yeah, the more personal computing segment, which includes Xbox, saw revenues of $13.3 billion, a year-on-year increase of 12%. Operating income was up 27% at $20.2 billion, while net income rose 48% to a $20.5 billion. During the earning call, Hood added that operating expenses increased by 15%, driven in by part of the ZeniMax acquisition. Well, and that, dude, they bought a lot of studios.
Yeah, it takes money to make money, so like of course they're gonna have to pay for that upkeep now. That's
absolutely
what comes along with it, but I'm sure that's a net positive. Just wait for Starfield.
Yeah, Scott, we only have about a minute left, dude, so let's wrap this up. What games are out for today? Make it quick. Go.
We have Age of Empires 4 on PC, and I'm happy about that one. We have Backbone, and that is coming to the PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, X, and S. Dusk is on the Switch today. Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater is on the PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, XS, Switch, and PC. That's an interesting title. If you're curious about that, I would search that one up. There is Riders Republic coming to the Xbox One, Series XS, PlayStation 4, 5, Stadia, and PC. We have Roki, I think that's how to say that.
Yep.
On PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X. And lastly, Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars, come to PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC.
And that's going to wrap up today's show, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. It's ITG Daily. I'm Drew. That's Scott. We'll see everybody here tomorrow inside the game.